What an honor it is to be in this pulpit from the Old West Church, which was originally on Beacon Hill, still is. This pulpit was a pulpit from which Trinitarianism was first spoken against, even before William Ellery Channing. And it is the pulpit from which Unitarianism was first preached in this country. So, a great honor. I want to talk a little about frustration this morning, and the best illustration I know about this seems appropriate because it's still baseball season. And I went to a lot of Red Sox games growing up. My mom was a big fan. But this, of course, is back in the era of Ted Williams, which some of you may not remember. But Ted was a superstar hitter and catcher also in the 40s and 50s. And he was asked in an interview in the Boston Globe once, what is it really like to be a professional baseball player? And this is the story he told. I'm out in left field. We're one run ahead, one out to go, and I know if I catch a hit, we will win. And then there comes a very gentle high fly ball right out toward me. And I'm under it. I'm going to catch it. 15 feet from my head, it bursts into feathers. And I realize that unless I catch all of them, we won't get the out. That's what playing professional ball is like. It's like fielding feathers. And it's always struck me, that story, because life is like that too. The frustration of fielding feathers can leave us cold, it can leave us in a sweat, and especially in times of transitions, it makes us feel extremely frustrated. I suspect you know this, but we are genetically wired to hate change. 80% of humans and apes have genetics that make them dislike anything that's different. And only 8% have genotypes that make them welcome change and transition. Although I'm sure this congregation does not reflect the averages, there must be at least some of you who are frustrated by all the change around here and by the ministerial transition. Seems a little like fielding feathers. of comments that have been gathered about ministerial transition by the Department of Ministry at the Unitarian Universalist Association. Sort of focuses on the kinds of frustrations that people express. They go like this: I know that our former minister had a better job offer and he had to go, or I know our interim minister just had to leave, but she left just when I needed her. Or, who is this strange person in the pulpit? And why doesn't he or she do things the same way we have always done them? Makes me feel uncomfortable. And then this: I'm afraid maybe our best years are behind us and we'll never get another minister. Those are the kinds of things that sometimes congregations in transition say. And it's an expression of the frustration they feel with the change going on around them. Now, from my perspective, I can't imagine that you will have any trouble attracting a wonderful minister by the time my pre-fired extinguishing kicks in less than a year, because it is such a wonderful congregation and such a wonderful place and such a wonderful opportunity. And yet, we still have to get through the frustration. And how are we going to do that? A. Powell Davies, the Unitarian preacher, once said, to be frustrated means to lose hopeful expectation, to be reduced to futility. And in fact, he suggested that when that happens, what you have to do is have a clear vision for the future. So, the clear vision is that you are a wonderful congregation awaiting the wonderful minister that will measure you. Unfortunately, a clear vision is seldom enough. You also have to have a patient courage. You have to deal with setbacks, and you have to understand the mistakes are going to be made, and some of them will be made even by you. But you persist. You have a patient courage that carries you forward toward the vision. But you also need this: cooperation. Because patient courage isn't enough if that courage is pushing everyone in different directions. Now, I'm not talking about your congregation, of course, but there are some Unitarian Universalist congregations that relish the idea of going in different directions all at once. And so it's important to find a way to cooperate in order to make the patient courage work. To be as attractive as possible most of the time and work together to do that, so that your cooperation enhances your patient courage and emboldens your vision that you can have a wonderful new minister. Now, there's one other thing that's needed too, but just to quickly illustrate all that, The whole story, of course, reminds us of the children of Israel and Moses, because if there was ever an illustrative story from the Hebrew Bible that speaks to this, it is that story. Because the clear vision is embodied in the words what? Let my people go. That's it. That's a clear vision. But it was not simple to achieve. It took an incredible patient courage. Think of Moses. Think of the times Moses is rejected, reviled, turned upon by Pharaoh, saying over and over again, let my people go, and persisting, but it was not enough, because the children of Israel were, like some independent-minded folk, not necessarily agreeable to cooperation. And so they had to be enlisted to cooperate, to do the things that needed to be done so that Pharaoh could be stood out to, so that the plagues that came through the land would have the lessons attached that they needed to have. And who could have been more frustrated than the enslaved children of Israel? Who could have had more feathers to feel than Moses? Well, still, he brings it all together with the clear vision, the patient courage, and the cooperation. And where does that get them? It gets them on the edge of a sea with an army chasing behind them. Not enough. And that's where I think something uniquely Unitarian Universalist comes into this story. It's a kind of optimism. A belief that, and my friend Alice Clare Weston once put it this way, a belief that unpredictably but reliably, just when you need it most, something wonderful will happen. Something awesome will happen. Something life-changing will happen. So that the clear vision, the patient courage, the cooperation can be empowered to part the seas of frustration and doubt. And I say it's a uniquely Unitarian Universalist view, the kind of view that was first preached from a pulpit, no, this pulpit, which says you can believe in people. Hold that for a moment. How unusual is that belief? Almost all of religion says the opposite. You can't believe in people. You have to believe in God. You have to believe in the Scripture. You have to believe in the path. Unitarian Universalism is a unique religion which, amazingly, puts its faith in people, puts its faith in the vision of a people, a vision of a people that can have patient courage, that can cooperate, and that can, in the face of overwhelming odds, unpredictably but reliably, make the amazing